The first part of the 4-H framework that we're going to cover is hope. When you're first assigned a presentation, where do you begin? Do you begin by opening PowerPoint? Do you begin by sketching out the outline of your slides? I often encourage people, start at the end. I want you, before you do anything else, to decide where you want to leave your audience when you walk off stage. What do you want them feeling? What do you want them doing? This is what Debi meant when she talked about the hope portion of the 4-H framework. It's your high note. It's your goal. It's what you're working your entire presentation to end with your audience. You want to inspire them, encourage them to do something. Identifying this first will allow you to use the hope as your North Star, your Polaris, to guide the rest of your development of your presentation so that when you get to the end, your audience feels that it was well connected, that you opened and went through your entire presentation and ended on a cohesive note. Let me give you an example. With your investment, we will transform the world of higher education. What was my hope in that? I'm sure you guessed correctly. I'm telling you that if you part with your money and give it to me, I'm going to transform the world of higher education. It sounds like something that would be at the end of some sort of business pitch, and I'm sure that's exactly where it would fit in. I've just told you that I want to radically change the educational environment, and with your money, I can make it happen. The hope of that example is that you feel confident in me to make that change happen, and you'll part with your hard-earned cash so I can go and do it. Let's try another example that I'm sure you've heard once in a while. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel to see more content like it. Same question for you. What was my hope there? You probably got it. I'm hoping you become a subscriber. I'm painting an imaginary picture where you are living in a world where you get to see more content that you enjoy by subscribing to my channel. Hope is that simple. We've all heard people wrap up presentations, TED Talks, or even videos online where there's an ask. Usually this is referred to as a call to action. I'm asking you to invest. I'm asking you to become a subscriber. But hope can take many forms. It could be, let's make the world a better place. While that's not necessarily an ask, it's still a mental picture of something I want you to envision. That's my hope. Now let's take a look at two professional talks and see what their hope was at the end of them.
We all know someone who's going through something tough right now. Go say something to them. Go do something for them. Maybe even something as intrusive as dropping off a casserole.
Did you hear Hope in her video? She has 3 very powerful strategies that she uses in her talk. The first is a very clear call to action. Go and say something. She spent her entire talk encouraging you to go out and make an impact on someone's life. The second thing she does is actually a callback. At the beginning of her video, she refers to this casserole and how dropping one off is a pretty easy way to tell someone that you mean something to them, but doesn't really take much time and effort. Using a callback is a unique strategy in order to make your audience see the thread that you've been weaving through your entire presentation, referencing something at the beginning and then again at the end. Calls back to the beginning of the presentation and reminds the audience that it's all connected. The last thing she did is made her end very inclusive. We all know someone, right? She's using language that includes everyone in the room. And if you don't think of someone right away, you almost feel like you're on the outside. Wow, I don't know anyone. I must have missed the point of this talk. Maybe I should ask her questions or recap it afterwards. Let's take a look at our second example.
Let me wrap up. There's a mismatch between what science knows and what business does, and here's what science knows. 1, those 20th century rewards, those motivators we think are the natural part of business, do work, but only in a surprisingly narrow band of circumstances. 2, those if-then rewards often destroy creativity. 3, the secret to high performance isn't rewards and punishments, but that unseen intrinsic drive, the drive to do things for their own sake, the drive to do things because they matter. And here's the best part. Here's the best part. We already know this. The science confirms what we know in our hearts. So, if we repair this mismatch between what science knows and what business does, if we bring our motivation, notions of motivation, into the 21st century, if we get past this lazy, dangerous ideology of carrots and sticks, we can strengthen our businesses, we can solve a lot of those candle problems, and maybe, we can change the world.
What's the hope in this example? The first thing that our presenter does here is start with a recap. Recapping is a very powerful strategy to use in information-heavy presentations. He's telling you, here are the 3 things that I want you to walk away with, if nothing else. And he condenses them down to about 1 sentence each. This, and this. Those are the things that I want you to remember when you walk away. And the other thing he does is paint a very clear mental picture of if you do X, you get Y. If you do the things I've been talking about in this talk for the last 15 minutes, you get better business practices, solve problems, and maybe even change the world. It's clear in both these examples that our presenters knew exactly where they wanted to end before they started making their presentation. That's what hope is. It's about knowing where you want to go, where you want to leave your audience, and what you want them feeling when you walk off that stage. Now it's your turn to develop hope. Remembering the topic that you chose, take some time to decide where you want to leave your audience that you'll be presenting this to. Decide how you want them feeling, what you want them thinking, and what you want them doing. Decide which one of those is most relevant to the topic that you chose. Is it a call to action and you're going to want them to do something immediately following? Or are you just trying to paint a very clear mental picture of what some visionary process could be?